Yo, this is Rue's Reviews, where we keep it for real, for real. I am Rue, aka the Culture Black Kid, and I'm still joined by.
Angelique, aka Angelique. I'm just kidding.
And today we are reviewing Dope Lemon's latest album, Golden Wolf. If you don't know, which we had to be reminded in our research, Dope Lemon. Did I say Dope Lemon or
Yeah.
Dope Wolf?
No, you said dope
Okay,
lemon.
see,
You
now
said
I'm
dope.
free.
I was like,
Dope Lemon is the solo project from Angus Stone, famously from Angus and Julia Stone. Yeah, this is kind of a side quest for him, and this is another one of his most recent projects. His last one was Kimasabi 2 years ago. But anyway, that's enough bio. Let us get into our overall thoughts. Angelique.
well, I'm a first time listener of Dope Lemon. Obviously, no Angus and Julia Stone. I didn't even realize it was Angus until I did my research. I'm like, oh wait, this is Angus,
Yeah.
Angus and Julia Stone. But yeah, you know, they still have one of my favorite songs, Big Jet Plane.
Of course. Classic.
Classic. So I was, keen to kind of hear what what his sound other than that would be like.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when you sent this album, I was like excited to listen to it. So first of all, the first track, it did capture me. I was like, okay, because I feel like the best time to listen to albums as well is when you're on the train or something like that.
Yeah.
And you have your AirPods in. So I was like, okay, I'm really
No, for sure.
taking this in.
For sure, for sure.
Some of the songs had me surprised, but I was still keen to, keep diving in and getting to talk about it now. So
Nice.
get a bit into that when I go into the pros and cons.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I think this is an interesting listen from Angus and his Dope Lemon, stylings. I think I'm a little partial to his earlier works. I did a quick speed run
Okay.
of like some earlier projects.
Still need to do that.
I think when it comes to summary indie rock releases, at least from this year, as I've been delving more into it,
Right.
I think there are a handful of others that I might reach for
Right.
first
Right.
than this.
Right.
And yeah, I'll get into more why, that's the case in the pros and the cons. But yeah, let's get into some pros. Angelique.
Yeah, so definitely some feel good songs on this album that you'd play. I kind of like, I pictured it, chill summer day.
Yep.
You're sitting on your patio with some of your closest friends. You like play some of the songs from this album, like, yeah, this is a vibe. And also another pro, I guess, some people may not agree with this, but there was a few elements of surprise in that album. But then again, I haven't listened to his previous projects,
Yeah.
so I could be wrong on this, and this might just be the kind of stuff that he does. But I feel like the first four songs are kind of different from the rest.
Like the back half?
Yeah, the back half.
Okay.
So I'm also curious to know like the background behind some of them.
For sure.
So like
Well, to kind of
yeah.
jump in, like I watched the interview today, just again in prep, where he said that kind of the context of the album is about like mortality
Okay.
and like your finality and your end, and like
Right.
who you're going there with and what you do or where you're going as
Okay.
well. I'm not sure if that helps with context a little
I
bit.
mean, a little bit. I can see how some songs connect to that, but I don't want to say every song kind of connects to it. Like I'm curious about Yamasuki, the influence behind that, and also Dust of a Thousand Stars, because there was some, I want to say like, there's like a Japanese influence,
Yeah.
and also South Asia influence
Yep.
in Dust of a Thousand Stars. So I'm curious to know his connection to those.
For sure.
And if that's something he's kind of done in the past.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really like a cool addition. That's why I put it as a pro. But yeah, definitely.
No, for sure, for sure. Well, first and foremost, I just love the idea behind the Dope Lemon aesthetic. I think I read
very
that
cool, yeah.
it was kind of like allowing him to talk a bit more about like his childhood influences and like,
Right.
I don't know, it feels like when you go to like your like a holiday house and like it's literally just that pocket of just like, these are my experiences on vacation.
Right, right.
Like, so I like the idea.
Yeah.
I totally get what you mean in regards to that, and I think hopefully within the my pros and my cons that maybe I'll touch on things, maybe I won't. But especially I literally did write curious about the interest in Japan and her culture.
I was like, what?
For sure. Like, so you got that song, but then you got the last album named Kimasabi, and it's like,
Right.
yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
but I don't think that got answered on this. But songs that did stand out include Yamasuki, which I think offers an interesting change of pace in the middle. Again, with the lyrics, Japanese hook, the refrain. I think Golden Wolf is probably my favorite, the title track.
I forgot to mention my standouts.
That's all right. That's totally fine. I can throw it back to you in a sec. I think Golden Wolf is probably my favorite track. Has a nice tune. So does she. She's all time. And I love the sax on Maggie's Moonshine as well. Silky way to wrap up that track. But yeah, do you have any favorite tracks as well?
I do. So, Electrical Green Lambo. I loved how it was very groovy, funky. And I was curious. I'm like, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, is this what like most of his music actually sounds like? I don't know if you might know that, but and yeah, I would love to hear more of it. And it also reminded me of, I'm going to butcher this name, Karangbin. Is it Karangbin? Karangbin, you know.
How do you spell?
K.
Did you write it?
Yeah, I did. Khuran.
No.
Oh, you don't know.
No. No.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna put it.
yeah.
Grace, put Karambi.
Who I love.
Yeah.
They also have that kind of groovy soul funk type as well. Golden Wolf as well. That was a standout for me. I love the simplicity of his voice and the guitar, especially in the first verse, because that kind of got me straight away. And I think because I love a storyline in a song, and so that kind of topped it off for me. And oh yeah, and I didn't realize that was the first. That was the album of the first. The first, that's the song that was the album name.
Yeah.
So
the title track.
the title track.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was it. So I was like, oh, this actually has a lot of listens. I guess I made the right choice.
No, for sure.
And also Maggie's Moonshine. So I like the obvious soul and funk inspiration. And in terms of direction of the instruments as well, I really, really enjoyed that. I can't say I fully enjoyed, and like lyric wise, nothing really, but the harmonies, it had me thinking about the Bee Gees a little bit. He had some harmonies in there that kind of took me back to that.
I see that.
And yeah, it just felt more dreamy and laid back, which is actually that's I think his vibe in general. So
for sure.
Yeah, definitely got that from that.
No, for sure. Well, with some pros, also come some cons. So yeah, I'm curious if you have any cons.
Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned before, I felt like the first 4 songs were a bit different from the rest. So after Golden Wolf, Yamasuki is what took me by surprise.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm curious to know his connections to Japanese music influence. And like I said, I might not be familiar with if he already kind of does that. And I just kind of got lost with the direction a little bit. I mean, I mentioned songs that were after that. They were generally like cool standouts on their own, but I guess as an album as a whole, I kind of might have been a little bit lost.
Yep.
And not to say like he has to stick to one genre, because I don't. I mean, artists shouldn't really be doing that anyways.
No.
But yeah, no, I generally like a narrative for artists when it comes to
like sonic consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to the album, but yeah, that was my main con.
True. I think my one is, I'm gonna say this word for word. I said, as a novice Dope Lemon listener, and after a number of listens, and also learning a little bit more about that context that I mentioned earlier, outside of the title track and Dust of a Thousand Stars, which I know is mostly an instrumental track, however, understanding that context and then keeping in mind maybe like Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, like some of the instrumental tracks on that, I'm like, okay, I can see how that might be touching on, again, mortality and your life and stuff like that. Yeah. But outside of that, I'm not sure the context of what the album was about was conveyed as clearly as I would have liked. Yeah. I don't know, maybe more of his core fans would understand it through the songwriting, but I don't know, maybe the metaphors were just too deep for me because I was sitting there like I was getting frustrated. Actually, I was like, why am I not getting this? Like, is it that specific? So yeah, that really frustrated me, and again, unfortunately, pushed me away from it.
Yeah.
Again, in comparison to, like I said, at the top with my overall thoughts, where I'm like, this would make me not want to reach for it as
Right,
much as
yeah.
like other
Definitely.
summary indie
Yeah.
projects. Which also, my other note that I didn't write, but still worth bringing up, is that obviously Angus and Julia Stone is big enough where they're doing international stuff. So
100%, yeah.
when they drop music, you know, it can be global.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's summer or winter when it drops.
Yeah.
However, just thinking from it as in an Australian context, as we're going into winter,
Yeah,
it's kind of a weird time
Yeah,
to
it
drop,
is.
especially with the artwork
Yeah,
that's
I'm
like
like,
super summery.
exactly.
And I'm like,
We're doing perfect for summer.
yeah, like I think with where we are in the world, I think that's unfortunately a con. If we're in America, then maybe it's like, okay, cool, we're going into spring, into summer,
definitely.
where we'll be like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
But I think time-wise for us, it feels like a weird time to release.
Yeah.
But that's more a contextual con.
Yes.
But I think more so what I meant before with the context is a bit, it's hard to grasp.
Yes.
But anyway, let's go into our overall rating. So again, are we here for this? Depends on the day. Are we feeling iffy about it? Angelique, I'm gonna let you kick it off.
I said I'm feeling iffy.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So, I think because I listened to the album a few times too, and I guess just going back on what I said as well, I definitely have to listen to his previous projects. But still, in general, I love indie like music in general. So
Who's your
the
go-to?
artists they're not Australian.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Okay. But I love artists like the Walters. I think they're really great. I was almost like so upset when they were like, "Oh, we're disbanding." I'm like, "No, you're not."
Yeah, like I will petition.
I was like, "We're going to stay together." But yeah, and I generally really love like songwriting and storytelling when it comes to indie. So it's not like you said, it's not one of the albums that I would generally like reach out to listen to, but there were definitely songs on there that I was like, okay, I like love to know more about this artist, but this album I would have to say feeling iffy.
For sure. I'm probably between depends and iffy. The only reason I don't want to go straight iffy is because, again, when I do my reviews, as much as it is a personal take, I do want to keep in mind that, the way it was done sonically was really beautiful. It was still really beautifully produced. I think the only thing, I didn't mention this in the cons, but I should have also, was that I'm not 100% sure how I feel about like the radio effect on the vocals.
On the vocals.
That really...
Almost every song, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And that kind of held me back a smidge. So that choice in the mixing also wasn't my favorite thing, but I'm trying to refrain from discussing mixing and mastering stuff because that is not my world. However,
that's not what we're here for.
Yes, I digress. It's that I appreciate the efforts gone into the production and the stuff like
Definitely.
that. And again, maybe if it was a hip hop artist, which is my genre a lot more, then I'd be a lot more quicker to judge what's going on.
Right.
But again, I got no quarrels with the production. It sounds nice. It sounds pretty. It's more my concerns about the timing and my understanding of the overall concept of the project.
Right.
As much as watching an interview, should help, at the same time, just listening to it on the surface as well, I should at least get a general idea. And the fact that I came out of there going, I have no idea what the hell that was about.
Yeah, I think that's why I said feeling iffy as well.
Yeah,
So, but
for sure.
yeah.
For sure. But
Eager to hear more.
No, for sure. And we might be wrong. Let us know what you think. Are you here for this? Are you feeling iffy about it? Let us know. Once again, Dope Lemon, Golden Wolf, and this is Rue's Reviews. I am Rue, aka Culture Black Kid.
I'm Angelique, aka Angelique.
And we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.